Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome to my video. So in this video I will explain about research design and research methodology, which is research and development or R&D. But before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Suci Pratiwi with the NIM of 232020 38882030002, a student of English Education Study Program at IAIN Parepare. This video is intended to fulfill the final project of the course Metode Penelitian by the lecturer Dr. Magdahalena M.Hum. So without further ado, let's just start with the definitions of the research designs first. Okay, so research design in research methodology refers to an overall plan that guides the process of data collections, data analysis, interpretations in a research study. It outlines how the research will be conducted and what methods will be used, and how the data will be analyzed to answer the research questions and hypotheses. So, there are 4 types of research designs that we can choose, which are experimental research, research and development, mixed methods, and class action research. But in this video, I will choose research and development to be explained further. So let's just start. Research and development, or R&D, is a process to develop new products or improve existing products, and it is used to test the effectiveness of the product. The R&D process combines both research and development stage, which aims to create innovations and to improve the existing processes, particularly in the field of education. Next is the types of R&D. So, based on Ricci and Nelson 1996, distinguish R&D into 2 types, namely, first, research that focuses on designing and evaluating a particular product or programs with the aim of obtaining an overview of the development process and studying the conditions that support the implementations of the programs. And the second, research that focuses on reviewing previously conducted development programs. The purpose of this second type is to obtain an overview of effective design and evaluation procedures. Next is the sampling techniques. So there are 2 techniques here. The first is probability sampling, which consists of simple random samplings. Here, each member of population has an equal chance of being selected. Then the second is stratified sampling, dividing the population into subgroups and sampling from each subgroups. Then cluster sampling, which dividing the populations into clusters and randomly selecting the clusters. And for the next techniques is non-probability sampling. Here is the first purpose sampling, which is selecting the samples based on specific criteria. And next is snowball sampling, which using referrals to recruit further participants. And then quota sampling, which selecting a specified number of participants to meet the quotas. Okay, now we move on to the techniques of collecting data. So I have collected some techniques for collecting data in R&D, which are observations, interviews, questionnaires, tests, and documentations. So, observation. These methods involves directly watching and sometimes participating in activities to get a deeper understanding of what's happening. For example, if we want to study about how students use a new learning app, we might observe them while they are working with it. Next is interviews. Interviews involve directly speaking with people to gather their thoughts, experiences, or insights. This method is helpful for understanding detailed perspectives and uncovering new ideas related to the research topics. Next is questionnaires. These are sets of written questions that can be given to many people to gather their input. They can be like a close-ended questions, such as multiple choice or yes and no questions, or open-ended questions, where they can write their answer freely and giving more detailed opinions or explanations. Okay, next is test. Tests are used to measure how well a product or process works. For example, like if we want to develop new teaching methods, we might give students a test to see if they learned better compared to the old method. And the last is documentation. So these methods involves using existing written or recorded information such as reports, articles, or data logs. For instance, we might analyze school attendance records to study the patterns in students' behaviors. Okay, for the last content is about techniques of analyzing the data. This R&D design can use qualitative and quantitative data analysis techniques. The selection of these data analysis techniques is highly dependent on the type of data and the purpose of the research. In R&D, qualitative data analysis is in the form of input and suggestions from the expert, prospective product users, reflection sheet from the students, and interview guidelines carried out by the researchers. Meanwhile, quantitative data consists of data from expert and scoring result and data from experimental product effectiveness test. So, by that, here are 4 specifically techniques that we can use in R&D design. First is document analysis techniques or literature study. Second is interview data analysis techniques. Third is feasibility test data analysis techniques. And then limited field test data analysis techniques. Okay, we start from the document analysis techniques or literature study. So, in conducting R&D, it is necessary to conduct a preliminary study related to the project that being developed. Usually, a preliminary study is conducted with a literature study. This study is intended to find the concept or theoretical foundations that strengthen a product. Through a literature study, the scope of products and supporting conditions are also studied so that the product can be used. Data from the literature study needs to be analyzed in such a way. Okay, next is the interview data analysis techniques. So, in the analysis of interview data conducted by the researchers, each interview transcript was examined question by question and a comparison of answers to certain questions given by a group of people that interviewed. Or by analyzing a recording of an interview directly by looking for significant answer statements and comparing what was said in different interviews even though they were the same. Okay, next is feasibility test data analysis techniques, which is expert and the practitioners. Here, the analysis is carried out in 2 ways, namely the analysis of the calculation of scores using the validity criteria formula, which is then compared with the validity criteria table, while the data result in the form of scores and descriptive analysis for the data in the form of suggestions and input. And the last techniques is the limited field test data analysis techniques. So the effective test stage in R&D is to test the product experimentally. Therefore, before testing a product, a pre-test is given to determine the initial conditions, and a post-test is given to determine conditions after the product is being tested. Okay, so we've already reached at the end of this video. From what we can conclude here, research and development or R&D in research design is a step-by-step process to create and improve products or ideas. It starts with finding out what's needed, designing the solutions, testing them, and making improvements to ensure the products work well. As an educator who plays a role in the teaching and learning process, it is necessary to have creativity in creating ideas in designing learning system, guidance models, or teaching material products. So, do I think that R&D is a good choice? Yes, R&D is a good choice if you want to create something useful and effective, and it's great for solving problems and making new things. But it always works the best if we have enough resources, times, and clear goals. So I think that's all about this video. Thank you so much for all of your kind attention. See you on the next video. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.